Okay.
Hope I didn't just walk through the shop.
No, you didn't. But
If you did, oh well.
if you are probably watching this on YouTube, you probably the video before this is going to be these three guys talking about Ghost Rider, Spirit of whatever, and
Hey!
you're going to turn that into a meme, aren't you?
There goes Cage.
And they went to see
Cage
that. I went to see Secret World of Arrietty, and I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing that word wrong because I really cannot pronounce words for shit. But and what it was,
shit pretty well.
I'm Sean. I'm Sean, by the way, Sean Stevens. So that's introduction time, and it's for those who don't know, it's an animated film from the Studio Ghibli. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too.
Ghibli, I think.
Ghibli. Yeah, it is Ghibli.
They pronounce
Ghibli?
the G like a C.
Ghibli. Okay, well, and it's of course Miyazaki film. He wrote the screenplay for this. It's actually based on a I think some
Children's
novel,
book.
a children's book by Mary something or other. I think she's Irish.
Yeah,
Because the theme of it seemed to be really geared towards that. I'll explain that in a bit. But
90% of it was in whiskey bottles.
you're not far off. It's and the story is also called The Borrowers. That's what the original story was called. And what it is that it's us. Okay, let me think how to say this. It starts off with this kid. Sean. He's in Japan, and that's very Japanese style name there, Sean. I mean it's like me. I'm actually Japanese, And
Sean-san. It sounds more Japanese if you add san.
Well, everything does. Get it, son!
And he's going to live with his in the house his mother grew up in. And the only person I'm not really sure who this woman was taking in there was. I think he's like his nanny or something like that.
How old was he?
He was like maybe like 14, 16.
Damn, too young.
And she was like, in her
Not
80s.
for
but
Japan.
And like I said, I could not for the life of me figure out who she was. But the big draw was that he was going to stay there with his aunt Haruka, and she is the villain of the show. She is the, for lack of a better word, she's crazy. And I don't want to say that because that's actually a main point of the story is that people are trying to prove that she's crazy, but she is. She's nuts.
She's not the devil.
But so he
Nicolas Cage.
She's not the awesome kind of crazy.
But so Sean is going to live with Haruka, and while he's there, he sees he's like walking around this little garden area, and this is a Miyazaki film, of course. So there's gorgeous artwork of scenery and landscapes and stuff. It is. There are literally scenes in this movie where I just wanted to pluck my eyes out because I never wanted to see anything ugly ever again. It was that beautiful to me. And
I was the same the first time I saw Debbie Does Dallas.
Nicolas Cage.
Great in that.
Sorry, guys, shut up!
You guys are hopeless.
Nicolas Cage, dude!
But
My ringtone.
and anyway, he's in this garden area, and he's noticing that this cat is really looking closely at this bush, and he goes up and he scares the cat away, partly because of a crow is attacking the cat as well. I don't know what the deal with the crow was, but that was actually kind of nice. But so he comes up and he sees that in this plant, he gives a very quick look, and he sees a little girl, not little girl, she's maybe she says she's 14 in the story, but she's this tall. And she's I don't know, 3-4 inches or something like that. And she darts out of sight real quickly, and that's a plot point because apparently, this girl is something called a borrower, and these are people who are very short. They're tiny. They're basically they're not midgets, but they're just really tiny
They're
human
fairies.
They're like fairies, but they don't have any magic. And in fact, they're called the borrowers. Because they don't have those in all these other fantasy movies where they have little tools and little all this stuff. Everything is miniature, just sitting around them. No, it's actually that everything they have, they had to borrow from the people who are like us, the normal people, the beings they call them.
Do they give them back?
No, but
that's not borrowing.
they only take things that people would not miss. That's their rule. They have a few rules, and they
He's open to interpretation. This
They
guy
don't need
won't
that
miss this
diamond.
Lexus.
This person won't need this diamond.
Like, I guess the idea is like, so I guess the idea behind this is like, you have, in your household, all the things that go missing. And this...
Socks?
And,
The remote underneath the couch, Trevor!
well, I think the only thing that really didn't add up, like I said, they have, well, Arrietty herself, when she ties her hair back, she uses a clothespin to do it. Like a little plastic clothespin to tie her hair back. And the whole story is like rolling around how like this boy Sean sees her, and this is like a big thing too, because once the borrowers are seen by a
I don't know the
being.
mechanics of that.
Do you mind?
Let's all walk out. Let him do his thing. Nicolas Cage. Pregnant.
Yeah, where was I?
Nicolas Cage.
He sees her, and it's
Can we just post it like this, please?
Well, it's
Do we
gonna-
have to start over?
no.
So this is what Ghost Rider does to people. So, but
Something about when he sees her and
yeah.
He sees
So,
her.
hair
so
tied with a clip.
when the borrowers are seen by a being, part of the rule is they have to leave because they're really afraid of the beings. They're worried they're going to be like collected and like put in jars, and exterminators are going to be hired to come and kill them. And that's sort of the thing, is that the Aunt Haruka, she is like she's lived in this house, and she knows they're there, but she's never been able to prove it. And so she eventually she follows Sean's tracks, and eventually is able to figure out where they're hiding. And they have like a house and everything. It's like these bricks, and they just pile all this stuff all over the place, and it looks amazing. And it's like everything in this movie, the artwork is incredible, and it's Miyazaki. So I guess I don't know. I guess I couldn't what do you expect from a Miyazaki film, but. Still, it's like, and you can see like all this stuff is like clay pots and bricks and little thimbles and all this stuff, and it's like all stuff that they've borrowed from the beings. And the Haruka eventually like I said, she follows Sean's tracks, and she finds the mother character of the borrowers. I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she was actually like really annoyingly funny. In the sense that she was like, wringing her hands, kind of nervous character, and so she captures her and puts her in a jar with little pokes the holes in like a little grasshopper or something, and she's gonna hire these. She's gonna bring these exterminators to come and see it, so everyone knows she isn't crazy. But of course, Sean, he teams up with Arrietty, and they get her out, and they prove that and they just apparently destroy their house, so no one ever know that they were there. And the movie ends. Spoilers, by the way, I guess. I didn't say that. But,
Retroactive spoilers. If you don't want to know what happens, invent time travel.
But in the end, they leave, and they get this like little teapot in like a river, and they ferry it down the river, and cause there's this big scene where and I forgot to mention this, Sean throughout the whole movie is like really kind of this almost sadly optimistic kind of person, in the sense that he is not really optimistic. I'm not really sure how to describe his personality, but he's just like so nice, and it's because that he has a heart condition. And he is going to be going into operation in like about a week's time. And he is not expecting to come out of this alive. He is pretty positive that he's going to die from this operation. And of course, there's this big scene where like Arrietty's like giving him the courage, survive. Like as long as you're alive, you can go on living, or something along those lines. And of course, in the end, he like says goodbye. He like narrates that he survived the operation, and that he learns that Arrietty and their family have somehow He learns that the family down the way from this house now suddenly has a bunch of things going missing from their household, and so they're apparently living there. And
So they don't just take things people won't notice.